Hi. I have been toying with the idea of starting a vlog about life in general, but specifically my point of view of parenting. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so parenting two young children is a big part of my life. It's what I do. It is my job. And yeah, I've been toying with the idea of doing this, thinking about it. What would I talk about? What was my perspective? How does it differ from anyone else's? Does it need to differ from anyone else's? Etc., etc. But I've actually been prompted to start today because of an article that came out a few days ago. It's in the Daily Mail, so I didn't actually read it off my own back. It was mentioned on a forum, and I was like, oh, what is this article? So I had to go looking for it. I mean, it's a horrible piece of crap, as most Daily Mail articles are, but it is written by a woman. And it is female bashing, which I don't understand. I don't understand how women can be so cruel to other women. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me at all. But anyway, the point of the article is talking about this online community of mums where a lot of time is spent talking about the hardships of being a mum, whatever that may be, and embracing the moments that we get that are our own and are maybe a little bit funny or just sort of desperate as well. Like some mums grab a glass of wine at the end of the day because they've just had enough and they just need to drown their sorrows in whatever form they can. And the idea that you would bash women for being honest is ridiculous to me. I don't understand it at all. My philosophy on parenting is you just got to do your best, and there are days where your best is going to be amazing and Instagrammable throughout the day, and there will be other days where you will be amazed that you make it through, and that's okay as long as your children know that they are loved and adored and safe and accepted for who they are. It doesn't matter. The rest doesn't matter. I know that I am part of this. I know that, I don't use much social media. I really only use Facebook because I'm old, and I use Facebook to share parts of my day, and the majority of it will be sweet things that my kids have done, or the better moments of the day, or funny exchanges that I've had with them. And it's not really because I want to ignore that there are bad moments or hard times. It's to help me remember that there are good times. If you write it down, it's there. You can't forget it. You can't delete it. It's there forever. So that's kind of why I do it. But I am aware that that does paint a picture of this perfect, idyllic life that I have with my children. And that's not necessarily true, at least not all the time. Now, I love my children. They are beautiful. I've got Rufus, who is 4, and I have got Eloise, who's just turned 2, and they are the best things that I have ever done with my life, and I adore them, absolutely adore them. They're the sweetest children, and I'm very, very lucky, and I don't ever take that for granted. I realise that I am very lucky to have 2 healthy children that seem pretty happy. But it hasn't been easy. Since Eloise, I've suffered with postpartum and birth trauma, and I have a history of depression, as well as other chronic illnesses such as chronic fatigue syndrome. So I've had a hard time, and there have certainly been days for sure that I really don't think I'm going to make it through, and I have had to call my husband and say, come home, I need you to take over. Those days happen a lot, and as someone who has dealt with mental illness and is continuing to do so, I understand how important it is to talk about these things. Now, I don't want to talk about them on social media, not because I'm ashamed of them, but because I don't want to dwell on them for my own needs and my own recovery. But I do think it's important to talk about it. I do think it's important to tell people that you've had a really hard day, or your kids are driving you mental, or whatever it may be. And, you know, the other day I was starting to really panic because I was yelling at my kids, and I'd been really screaming at them and they were driving me mental. And I had to go online and find out, am I the only mum who screams at their kids? Because I felt like I was at that moment. And I came across the Unmumsy Mum blog, which I had seen before, but she had an article that she'd written, or a blog that she'd written, where she described losing her temper on a regular basis and having to lock herself away in a bathroom just to get a moment's peace and to count to 10 and to take that deep breath that you need sometimes. And I can't tell you how amazing that is to read. Being a mum is a very lonely thing sometimes. No matter how much effort we put into going to baby groups and things like that, it can feel really lonely, and it can feel like you're the only one struggling. And these articles of these mums expressing their difficulties and their challenges, and the fact that they don't love it all the time, is so important. I think if we did that in all areas of our lives, if everybody did that and just talked about how they felt and talked about what they were experiencing, mental illness could be tackled so much more easily, because it would be out in the open. And we would all know that we weren't alone, and that we were part of a wider community that suffers and struggles. And that would be amazing. So an article like this, which is really judgmental and damning and generally just a horrible article, all it does is shut people down. It stops the conversation. It stops the healthy outpouring that we all need. And I had to come on and I had to say something. And I feel like I've rambled a little bit and it probably hasn't all made a lot of sense. But I kind of needed to say my piece of, you're not alone. It is really, really tough being a parent and looking after children, whether you do it full time, whether you are at work part of the time, you come home in the evenings. Like, I can't imagine what that must be like, because I bet you want it to be perfect. Those moments that you get with your kids, you want to be perfect because they're so fleeting, and yet probably because of the time of day it is, they are at their worst and it probably doesn't end up being perfect. I can't imagine how difficult that must be. So whatever kind of parent you are, whatever version of your life has taken, whatever route you've taken with it, you're not alone. People out there are struggling, other people are struggling too. Other people don't love it all the time. But as long as your kids are happy and they know that you love them, that is all that matters. And if you need to talk to somebody, if you need to just let it all out in a big rant or scream it from the rooftops, there are people online who are ready to listen and have had exactly the same experiences, or at least similar. And there are articles out there that will talk you through it and will remind you that these horrible moments are fleeting and that there are good moments to enjoy. And whether you want to share it online or whether you want to keep it to yourself, do try and make a record of some of the really sweet moments, of the really happy, joyful moments, because it is hard to remember them when you're having a really hard day, or a hard month if your child is teething, as mine is doing at the moment. It is really, really tough. But if you can have somewhere where you can go and look and remember the funny thing that they said or the silly thing that they did, it will brighten your day and it will help. And don't listen to people who judge you for not loving it all the time. They are clearly either not being honest with themselves, or are just trying to get a rise out of people for clicks online, or they have someone else caring for the kids, or they don't have kids. Whatever it is, don't listen to them. Know that you're normal, know that it's okay, and know that there are people out there, including myself, who are here for you. And that's it. Okay, bye.